There comes a moment in every life when the container that has been holding you simply stops being large enough. Not because you did something wrong, not because the container was poorly made. In fact, it may have been extremely well made. You built it yourself, carefully, with all the precision and patience that Saturn demands of you. But growth is not optional, Capricorn, even for a sign as deliberate as yours. Even for a sign that values stability above almost everything else. Even for someone who has built their entire identity around knowing exactly who they are and exactly where they are going, there comes a moment when the person you have become can no longer fit inside the shape of the life you designed for the person you used to be. And that moment, Capricorn, is now. Something is being outgrown. It may be a relationship. It may be a way of thinking. It may be a role you play in someone else's life or in your own. It may be a set of rules you made for yourself years ago that made complete sense then and make far less sense now. Whatever it is, the outgrowing has already begun. You may not have named it yet. You may have been calling it something else: restlessness, dissatisfaction, a vague sense that something is off without being able to say exactly what. But what you are feeling is growth demanding space. Growth asking you to expand past the walls you built and step into a larger version of your own life. These 10 signs are here to help you see it clearly. Because when Capricorn sees something clearly, Capricorn moves. Sign 1. What once satisfied you no longer feels like enough. You remember when certain things felt like genuine achievements. When reaching a particular milestone gave you the specific kind of quiet satisfaction that you do not easily admit to, but that is one of the most important feelings in your life. You remember when a certain level of stability, a certain kind of recognition, a certain quality of relationship felt like what you had been working toward. And now you are there. You are at the place you spent years aiming for. And it does not feel the way you expected it to feel. This is not ingratitude. You are not an ungrateful person. You know the value of what you have built. You do not take it lightly. But there is a difference between knowing the value of something and feeling genuinely fulfilled by it. And that feeling of fulfillment, the deep specific satisfaction that comes from being in the right place doing the right thing, has been harder to access lately. What used to feel like enough has quietly stopped feeling like enough. The goals that once felt meaningful feel smaller. The routines that once felt purposeful feel mechanical. The version of success that you spent years building feels complete and slightly hollow at its center. This is not a crisis. This is a sign. Specifically, it is the sign that you have grown past the container that was designed for an earlier version of you. When the thing that used to satisfy you stops satisfying you, it is because you have become someone capable of something larger. The dissatisfaction is not a symptom of failure. It is a symptom of readiness. You are ready for the next level. And the next level is asking you to grow into it. Sign 2. Your tolerance for certain patterns has disappeared. You used to be able to manage certain things that you can no longer manage with any patience at all. Relationships where the communication goes in circles. Professional situations where effort is not matched by respect. Environments where your time and your standards are treated as negotiable when they have never been negotiable to you. Conversations that feel like they are covering the same ground for the 10th time without ever moving forward. You used to tolerate these patterns because you believed that patience and persistence could change almost anything. And in many cases you were right. Your patience has changed things. Your persistence has produced results that seemed impossible. But there are patterns that patience does not fix. There are cycles that continuation only deepens. And you are reaching a point where your system simply refuses to pretend that what is not working might eventually work if you just keep showing up to it in the same way. This disappearance of tolerance is not you becoming difficult. It is not you becoming selfish or unreasonable. It is you outgrowing the habit of enduring what should instead be changed or left behind. You have spent enough time in cycles that do not serve your growth. Your soul is refusing to spend another season there. Listen to that refusal. It is one of the clearest signs that you have already grown past something and are waiting only for your choices to catch up with the person you have already become. If what you are hearing feels accurate, know that it could happen if you apply this energy consistently for 21 consecutive days. That is the 21-day challenge pinned at the top of this channel. It is built around daily guidance, focused direction, and real momentum. If you are tired of staying in the same cycle, that structure is exactly what has been missing. Sign 3. You are being drawn to people who think differently than your current circle. Look at who has been catching your attention lately. Not necessarily people you agree with on every point. Not people who confirm everything you already believe. But people who think in ways that stretch you. People who ask questions you had not thought to ask. People who have built their lives around values or approaches that are not quite like yours, and whose difference does not irritate you the way it once might have, but instead genuinely interests you. This is a significant shift for Capricorn. You have traditionally valued familiarity in your relationships. You know what you trust, and you trust what has proven itself over time. New people with new ideas have often been met with a measured caution that keeps a certain distance until they have earned their place. But lately the distance has been shorter. You have been more open to influence, more willing to sit with ideas that do not fit your existing framework, and let them have a proper hearing before you decide whether they have something to teach you. This opening toward different kinds of people is a sign that your current circle, as much as you value it, may no longer be covering all the ground that your growing mind needs to cover. You are not outgrowing the people you love, but you are outgrowing the limitation of only being around people who see the world exactly as you have always seen it. The new connections you are being drawn toward are part of the expansion. Let them in. Sign 4. Old definitions of success feel like someone else's words. There are things you have been working toward that you now realize were defined for you by someone else. Maybe by a parent who had a specific picture of what a successful life looked like. Maybe by a culture that told you certain markers of achievement were the ones worth aiming for. Maybe by an earlier version of yourself who made those decisions before you had lived enough to know what you actually value. Whatever the source, some of the definitions that have been driving you are starting to feel like borrowed clothes. They fit once. They made sense once. But when you put them on now, something in you notices that they are not quite yours. That they were made for a different body, a different shape of life, a different person. This noticing is not comfortable. Capricorn does not easily abandon a goal once it has been set. You do not change direction without a very good reason. The discipline that makes you exceptional is also the discipline that can lock you into a path long after the path has stopped leading where you actually want to go. But what is happening now is not the abandonment of discipline. It is the application of that same discipline to the more fundamental question. Not how do I reach this goal, but is this goal actually mine? If the answer is beginning to feel like no, or like only partly, or like not anymore, that is one of the most important signs of outgrowing you will ever receive. Because you can rebuild a goal. You cannot rebuild time spent on the wrong one. Sign 5. Your relationship with control is starting to shift. Capricorn and control have always had a relationship. Not control in a domineering sense, but control in the sense of structure, preparation, and the careful management of outcomes. You like to know what is coming. You like to have prepared for it. You like to minimize the space between intention and result by planning thoroughly and executing carefully. The need for this kind of control has always made sense. In a world that can be unpredictable and sometimes unkind, knowing how to manage your circumstances is a genuine survival skill. It has helped you build things that lasted. It has kept you stable in seasons that might have destabilized a less structured person. But lately, something is happening in your relationship with control. You are starting to notice that some of the things you have been most tightly holding are the very things that would bloom if you loosened your grip. You are starting to suspect that there are outcomes available to you that your planning cannot produce, that can only be reached by releasing enough control to allow something unexpected to arise. This is new territory for you, and the discomfort of it is a clear sign that you are outgrowing the version of yourself that believes control is always the answer. The larger version of you that is trying to emerge understands that discipline and openness can coexist. That structure and surrender are not opposites. That the most sophisticated level of Capricorn mastery is knowing when to hold everything tight and when to open the hands. If this message is resonating with your sign right now, trust that it is not a coincidence. When the universe wants to speak to you, it sends exactly the right signal at exactly the right moment. And you are here because you needed to hear this today. Your support, whether as a subscriber or as a member of this community, is what keeps these messages alive. The ones that touch hearts, awaken minds, and transform lives. If this video has been making sense to you, drop in the comments the day you were born. Let us keep going. Sign 6, you have started asking why, not just how. For most of your life, the dominant question has been how. How do I accomplish this? How do I solve this problem? How do I build this thing, reach this goal, navigate this challenge? You are a practical earth sign, And practical earth signs excel at the how. The mechanics of achievement are native to you. You do not need to be taught how to work hard, how to plan carefully, how to execute with precision. These things come as naturally to you as breathing. But something is shifting. The question why has been appearing more frequently. Not as doubt, not as the kind of existential questioning that paralyzes, but as a genuine inquiry into the meaning underneath the structure. Why am I building this? Why does this matter? Why am I continuing in this direction when another direction is quietly calling to me? Why have I been holding back in this area of my life when I have everything I need to move forward? This movement from how to why is a significant developmental threshold. It is the movement from competent execution to conscious intention. It is the transition from a life built on what works to a life built on what is true. And it is a sign that you have outgrown the version of yourself that was satisfied with competence alone. You are reaching for something more. For meaning that is proportional to your effort. For a life that does not just work well on the outside but resonates deeply on the inside. That reaching is one of the most important things that can happen to a person. Do not talk yourself out of it. Sign 7. You are beginning to trust yourself with more. There are things you have not let yourself try. Not because you lack the capability, but because you did not trust yourself enough to handle the potential failure. The risk of a larger goal is a larger potential fall. And Capricorn, for all your courage in the practical world, can be quietly risk-averse in the areas where the stakes feel most personal. The career that means too much to risk. The relationship that feels too important to pursue in case it does not work out. The creative or personal endeavor that you have kept safely in the category of someday because someday requires nothing of you now. But lately, something has been changing in the way you hold these locked-away possibilities. You have been looking at some of them differently. Instead of seeing only what could go wrong, you have been starting to see what could go right. Instead of leading with the worst-case scenario, you have been allowing yourself to imagine the best one, at least for a moment, at least long enough to feel what it would actually mean. This shift in self-trust is one of the clearest signs that you are outgrowing a protective smallness that has kept you safe, but also kept you limited. The person you are becoming does not need to stay small in order to stay safe. You have more capability than you have used. You have more resilience than you have needed to call on. And you are beginning slowly and deliberately in the way you do everything to bring that awareness into your daily decisions. Sign 8. A part of your identity no longer feels accurate. You have been described in certain ways for a long time. Maybe you have described yourself in these ways. Responsible, reserved, serious, the one who has it together, the one who does not need help, the one who holds it down for everyone around them. These descriptions have been accurate. They are still partially accurate. But there is a new dimension to who you are that does not fit inside these words, and you are feeling that mismatch more and more. You are not just the responsible one. There is a part of you that longs for levity, for play, for the permission to be less organized and less prepared and less reliable for a stretch of time, and to simply be a person experiencing their own life without managing it. You are not just the reserved one. There is a warmth in you that has been looking for a place to go. A softness that you have protected carefully because the world has not always been kind to soft things, but that deserves expression rather than permanent concealment. You are not just the one who does not need help. There is a version of you that genuinely needs support right now and has been refusing to ask for it because the identity of self-sufficiency is too tightly worn to remove easily. These mismatches between who you have been and who you are becoming are not a loss of self. They are an expansion of self. The identity is not breaking. It is widening. And widening has always been, for you, a kind of growing. Sign 9. You are feeling the pull towards something you cannot fully explain. There is something calling you. Not a specific destination with a name and a plan attached to it. More like a direction. A feeling of movement towards something that is as yet undefined but unmistakably present. It shows up when you are not thinking about it. When you are in the middle of a perfectly ordinary day, and something inside you shifts very slightly, like a compass needle moving. You look around and everything appears normal, but something inside you knows that normal is no longer what you are headed toward. This pull is not logical, and that is part of what makes it difficult for you to trust it. You have always been more comfortable with what can be named, measured, and planned for. This pull cannot be any of those things yet. It is too early in its formation for that. It is in the stage where it can only be felt. For Capricorn, this is deeply uncomfortable. And yet you have been feeling it anyway. You have not been able to dismiss it the way you have dismissed similar feelings in the past. It keeps returning. It keeps asking for acknowledgement. And slowly, perhaps almost without realizing it, you have been giving it the acknowledgement it is asking for. That acknowledgement is itself a sign of your outgrowing. The version of yourself from 2 years ago would have filed this pull under impractical and moved on. The version of you that exists now is willing to sit with it. That willingness is the beginning of everything. Sign 10. You are ready to ask for what you actually need. This one runs deep, Capricorn. Asking for help, asking for support, asking for what you need instead of silently managing without it. These things have always been among the hardest for you. You were built for self-reliance. You have worn that self-reliance like armor. Not because you enjoyed wearing it, but because life taught you early that needing things from others was a vulnerability, and vulnerability was a risk you were not always willing to take. But something has been shifting in the way you hold this. You have been noticing the cost of not asking, the exhaustion that comes from carrying everything alone, the loneliness that lives inside the pride of total independence, the ways in which the things you have most needed have gone unmet simply because you could not bring yourself to name them out loud. And you have started, in small and quiet ways, to change this. A moment where you actually said what you needed instead of saying nothing. A conversation where you let someone see a difficulty instead of hiding it beneath composure. A decision to accept help that was offered instead of reflexively declining it. These moments are small. They may not look like much from the outside. But from the inside, from where you live, they are enormous. They are the signs of a Capricorn who has outgrown the belief that needing is weakness. Who has grown into the understanding that receiving is not a failure of self-sufficiency, but a form of wisdom. That the strongest structure is not the one that stands entirely alone, but the one that knows which foundations to build on and which support to accept when the load calls for it. You are becoming that structure now, and it is more beautiful and more capable than anything you could have built entirely on your own. If this message resonated with your sign, trust that it is not a coincidence. When the universe wants to speak to you, it always sends exactly the right signal, and you are here because you needed to hear this today. Your support as a subscriber or as a member of this community is what keeps these messages alive. They are the messages that touch, awaken, and transform. If this video made sense to you, leave in the comments the day you were born. Outgrowing is not a comfortable process, Capricorn. You know that better than most. You value what you have built. You understand the cost of every piece of it. The years of discipline. The mornings you got up before you wanted to. The plans you stayed faithful to when everything around you encouraged giving up. The relationships you tended with quiet loyalty even when you received nothing back. The choices you made for the long term when the short term was offering something easier and shinier. All of it has been worth it. All of it has brought you to this specific threshold. But the threshold is asking something of you now that the building years did not require. It is asking you not to hold tighter but to let go. Not of your values, not of your integrity, not of the discipline and patience and persistence that are at the core of who you are, but of the particular shape that your life has taken up until now. The shape that fit who you were when you first designed it, because you have grown past that shape. These 10 signs have been showing you that for a while now. And the reason they are appearing so clearly is not to destabilize you. It is to give you a map. A way of looking at the changes inside you and recognizing them, not as problems to be managed, but as directions to be followed. You are not falling apart. You are expanding. An expansion in a Capricorn always leads somewhere extraordinary. The sea goat does not only climb familiar mountains. The sea goat finds new peaks. And the views from those peaks are worth every difficult step it took to leave the comfortable ground below. You are outgrowing something. And what comes next is the largest, truest version of yourself you have ever had the chance to be.